Hi everyone. So for today's card I'm going to use the Mama Elephant Little Snowman agenda. Basically they have a whole range of little agendas, and there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 little guys on here. So these are the snowmen. There's reindeer, there's Santas, elves, little girls, little boys. I think there's even a monkey one. So there's a whole load of them. So I'm going to use the snowmen today, and I'm going to do some very simple colouring, because really they're so tiny that that you're not going to get a lot of shading on there unless you're very, very clever, and I'm not. So simple colouring. I'm also going to use a piece of mint macaron Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and it measures 11 by 4 1/4 folded at 5 1/2, and it'll be a I might do it as a this way card. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I also have, for the colours to colour them in, I have some Copic markers. So I have a YG67, which is moss. I have R29, which is lipstick red. I have without dropping it, I have YR04, which is chrome orange. And I have, if I can find it, Cool Grade number 7, which is C7. It's just so that there's a bit of colour. Like I say, it's not going to be any major colouring or anything. I also have the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen in Clear, Crystal Clear. It's basically a clear sparkly ink. It's like a shimmery sort of thing. So I'm going to use those on the snowmen because they will sparkle. I'm also going to use for the background just very simple background blending with Distress Oxides, and I've got cracked pistachio and tumbled glass, and I forgot the blending tool, so I will get that in a minute. I also created a cut file on my Scan and Cut, not on the Scan and Cut itself, but on the program that you get with it. And so I believe Mama Elephant actually have a die. I think it's Mama Elephant. They have a die that actually cuts something similar to this, and I think it's got some stitching and stuff like that around the edges, but it's basically the same idea. Obviously this is my own file that I've cut, but you could probably do this by hand. It's the shape's simple, and this measures 4 1/2 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it will fit the front of the card base perfectly. It will, mostly. So that's the idea with that. I cut 2 and got rid of the centres of this one, and then this one I've actually left the centres in and just put some washi tape at the back, and it'll make sense in a bit. So I'm going to put some music on, I will get my blending tools, and I will get started. I forgot to mention, or well, I forgot these in the first bit. These are the Tim Holtz round mini blending tools with the foam applicators on them. So that's what I'll use for the ink. I also forgot to mention the ink I'll use for stamping the images, and so I'm going to use my favourite things, Extreme Black, which is good with alcohol markers. It's a hybrid ink, so it is also waterproof, so if you needed to use it with anything else water-based as well as alcohol inks, it will work. And I also, this is the piece of A4 that I cut out the these panels from, and so I thought, waste not want not, I've got extra bit left over, so I'm going to use that to stamp the images on when I get there, and I'll probably use my stamping tool. Might be quicker that way, but I might do it old school with just an acrylic block. We'll see what happens. And this is Whisper White Stampin' Up! Cardstock. So now we can get started. No, it can't. This I will eventually get this going. I also want to spritz. Now, you know, with Distress Oxides, or in case you don't, you can use the Distress Sprayer, which is a spray bottle that you can get from Tim Holtz, and it creates a neat effect, right? But because this isn't watercolour cardstock, I'm going to use a bit of alcohol, which should evaporate fairly quickly, and so hopefully this won't take too long to actually dry once I've inked and spritzed. So let's try this again. Now we can get started. Right, so that sort of worked. I guess for these tiny little agenda guys, maybe you do need the dies to go with it, because I had some trouble, possibly because I'm brand new still to the scan and cut, but like some of them have lost their little hands, and the present here and the snow guy down here, I had to very carefully piece together those bits by putting some tape behind them to help stick them together. So as a general thing it worked really well, but like you'll notice that he doesn't have any proper arms. He's lost a hand. I mean, it's just, you know, snowman disaster. So anyway, I added the sparkle and stuff, and I also now have added the this is Nouveau Crystal Glaze that I just added as an extra accent on the heart. But yeah, pretty simple to do, with the exception of my die cutting and my ability to use a brother scan and cut, but I will learn. So I hope this is a fun tutorial, rather long-winded. It's not, you know, a short quick card, but it's a lot of fun to do, and I think it's worth giving a go. And bear in mind, you can have any characters. Obviously I've done a winter one here, but you could do any colours, you could have flowers in all of them. You could easily make this top layer into a shaker card, or have a shaker card on each box, as long as each bit is closed at the back and you've got some acetate on the back of this piece. You'll be fine. You can make a whole shaker card of this whole panel. So there's another idea. Anyway, so I will leave you to it. And the funniest thing was when I was putting it together, trying to decide where to put them was another thing for me. So what I did was I actually put them in the order that they ran on here. And as it turns out, these three at the bottom I think is kind of funny because they're both looking at the middle one going, oh no, he's melted. So I think that's kind of funny in a weird kind of way. But anyway, I will leave you to it, and hopefully if you've got the die set you won't have this problem. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Happy Christmas. Bye.